I am a man in my early 60s from America, and I have travelled to Thailand many times since 2019, usually 4 times a year, and over time I have connected the dots on how everything works there with fun, travel, trains, planes, tuk-tuks and the nightlife. My story is about how looking for love outside of dating apps can sometimes go very wrong. One afternoon back home, I was browsing profiles on a dating app where I had been an off and on subscriber. I usually avoid obvious red flags like photos taken in bars, on beds, or with tongues sticking out, because to me, those are clear signs of solicitations. Then I came across a profile called Maya. She was 39, but she looked closer to 25. She had a unique look that I found appealing, and her photos suggested she worked in the medical field. She responded to my message, and over the next week we chatted casually. She told me she was a nurse's aide at Bumrungrad Hospital in Bangkok. Soon enough, she was calling me handsome, asking when I was coming to Thailand, and flirting in the kind of playful way I had seen before. After 3 weeks, the conversations slowed down, but we still exchanged emojis and short messages. One day, I searched her screen name on Facebook and found her public account. The photos matched everything she had sent me: family, pets, food, even her daughter, who she described as chubby. Later, I found her Instagram, and that was the real surprise. It went all the way back to 2016, and among the everyday posts were pictures of her with an older Western man, clearly her partner. He was much taller and heavier than her, and they looked like an unlikely couple. Scrolling further, I found their wedding photos from only 2 months earlier. Wedding rings, family shots, the works. It became clear they had been together for at least 18 months. There were also pictures of trips, dinners and outings that he had clearly paid for. I never confronted her about it, but I kept playing along to see where it went. I booked another trip to Thailand and told her. She seemed happy about it until the date got close, and then she stopped responding. I landed in Bangkok and sent her messages but got no reply. I wrote her off as having cold feet. That evening I went to buy some things near Terminal 21. On the way back, who do I see walking towards me but Maya and her husband? She was still in hospital scrubs. He was in the classic foreigner outfit of sandals, shorts and a t-shirt. She spotted me straight away, and I gave her a look that said I knew the truth. They kept walking, and I kept my distance. They went into Robinson's department store, and I followed, but I lost sight of them. On my way out, I found him standing near the exit alone. I decided to speak to him. I asked if he knew a woman named Maya. He said yes, she was his wife. I introduced myself and told him briefly what had happened, leaving out the Facebook and Instagram part and only mentioning the dating app. He was shocked, but believed me once I told him things about her life that only someone who knew her would know. I connected with him online so we could talk later. That night, he texted me saying he had confronted her. She denied everything, refused to show her phone, and he made her pack her things and leave. He was devastated, but he thanked me. Over the next day, he told me more about how they met. He was from California, retired from the oil industry, and had moved to Koh Samui, where he met her on holiday. He sold his condo there, moved to Bangkok, bought another place near her work, and even paid off her car and her parents' debts. He told me I thought she was different. The next morning, he told me he felt broken and betrayed, but I reassured him that he was now free. I told him not to rush into anything new and to take time to heal. For the next few days, we exchanged messages. He was upset, sometimes angry, sometimes resigned, but always circling back to the same disbelief. I reminded him that she was not his problem anymore and that he should see it as freedom. Weeks later, I looked at her Instagram again. All of the wedding photos and any sign of him had been removed. Months later, she reappeared in new photos with another Western man. It confirmed what I already knew. As I told him that night, you never know who is going to walk into your life and turn it around, but sometimes you also never know who is going to fool you along the way. I've never understood these girls who do this, but I can understand them going on social media sites and sites like Tinder and Badoo looking for foreigners, especially older Thai women, because they find it harder to date Thai guys the older they get. They might have a kid. Thai guys are generally not interested in dating a girl who's already had a child. So I can understand that aspect of it. But once they find a guy like this, obviously this guy, her husband, wasn't playing with her. He married her. He paid off the parents' debts. He paid off her car debt. He was serious. They were a serious couple. Why is she going after other foreigners? That's never understood me. And something I'd like to ask you guys, if you were in his situation and you found out, would you have told her husband? For myself, I think I would have, yeah, because he was being, he's probably a decent guy and she was being deceitful. And I think I would have told her, but some guys will probably come back and say, no, I wouldn't have got involved. Just let them get on with it and he won't know any different. What would you have done, honestly? Right, okay, into our fifth and final story of the day. Hello, Peter. I have been a big fan of your channel since 2022. I want to tell you about my first trip to Thailand, which happened at the end of July 2025. I had already been to Vietnam in 2023, and it was a very pleasant experience, full of memories, but this trip to Thailand was much more meaningful. I travelled from Australia with a friend who also lives in my city, and for him, it was his third visit to the land of smiles. We arrived in Bangkok on a Friday night, and the first thing I did was rest after the long flight, take a shower, and although I had not planned to go out, the noise in the street tempted me. I went to 7-Eleven to buy a traveller SIM card, and that was where the whole adventure began. I prepared to go out with a little money, taking all possible precautions to avoid an expensive mistake and an early visit to the embassy. So I left my passport, important documents and credit cards in the hotel safe. I was very excited to see what would happen to me, as I had already heard many stories on your channel and on others, and I did not know which version of Thailand I would get. I wondered to myself if I would be a victim of fraud, if I would fall in love with a ladyboy, or if I would meet a bargo who would take all my money and leave me heartbroken. All my friends asked me after the trip how many ladyboys I'd been with. Honestly, I was tempted, but I did not do it, although now I understand why many people go exclusively for that. I walked until I found a freelancer I liked. She gave me a price, but I did not want to take her to my room so quickly on my first night, so we just went for drinks in a bar across the street. We kissed a little and then I let her go. After that, I found a tuk-tuk driver and asked him if there were any bars nearby where I could finish my night. It was already 2 in the morning. He took me to a bar where the women were available to sit with you, have a drink, and if things went well, there was the option of going somewhere more private. But honestly, I was not interested in doing that. Instead, I told the driver he could choose a girl he liked and I would buy drinks for both of them. Just when I thought he would not choose anyone, I saw a woman in the corner who I liked immediately. I stood up and I went to her. We had several drinks and I liked her a lot. We ended up kissing and taking selfies. The place was quiet, the women were beautiful but looked bored, so I bought drinks for the ones that I thought were the prettiest. At 7 in the morning, the first woman I had chosen told me she would go with me to my hotel, which I accepted, but they denied her entry because she had no identification. We ended up at her apartment instead, buying some breakfast on the way. After getting to know each other a little better, using the translator and a bit of English, we had aerobics and finally I was able to sleep. Walking back to my hotel the next night was a very bad idea because my phone died and I had no idea where I was. After walking in circles through the same streets, I gave up and took a taxi who vaguely understood my directions to the hotel. The next day, very excited, I went to another bar full of freelancers. What I liked about this one was that there was live music. I met a German guy who told me, I have 2 women, take whichever one you like. They would treat you well and not charge you much. But one of them got very drunk, so I stopped dancing with her. On my way to the bathroom, I saw another freelancer sitting alone, not drinking. She looked at me. I smiled, went up to her and asked what she was doing there. She said she was just enjoying the night. I asked if she was working and she said yes. I asked how much and she replied, up to you. Later, she confessed she said that because she liked me. Her friend joined us and I suggested, why don't we all go to my room and see what happens? At the end of the night, I paid them for their time. We had aerobics in my room.